Much bliss and many blessings, soul family. I love you all. Hope everyone's doing well. I wanted to come on here and talk about a Bible verse, Matthew 18, verse 3, where Jesus says, "Unless you become like children, you'll never enter into the kingdom of heaven." And I actually was just watching a video with Duncan Trussell, and I can't remember who was interviewing. Somebody was interviewing, but they were talking about a bunch of spiritual stuff, and this topic had came up, and they didn't say a couple of different things that I was thinking about, and so I kind of jotted it down to write this or make this video. So in this, the thing that Duncan had mentioned is being able to fully feel and express the emotions that we feel. So he was like, when kids have things like go wrong and, somebody gets told no or something like that, then they like literally fully fall apart and just fall to the ground completely defeated and just, oh my gosh, just cry and just have the most horrible time that just looks like they're so pitiful. But then a few seconds later, they're jumping back up, fine as can be, attention directed somewhere else, and they're back on to laughing and enjoying the day, moving their mind into a different direction. And, he was talking about how we don't allow ourselves to express and feel our emotions. In today's society, it's basically taught to us subconsciously to suppress our emotions and to not, you know, allow ourselves to express the way that we feel in the moment a lot of the times. And so that was one part that he had mentioned. And I was wanting to think about a few other different things. So you remember when we were kids and stuff, our imagination was just so full and abundant. And we would be, at least when I was a kid, my thing was Thundercats and Ghostbusters. So I was a Ghostbuster and I was a Thundercat. And I mean, when I got into character and I had my Thundercat sword, thunder, thunder, Thundercats, ho! And I would, run around and play, and it was like you could see, your imagination was so vivid and so live that you could literally see the um the entities, the creatures, that's the ghost or something that you're chasing. You could literally visualize them and see them so full that they were actually there. And for children like us that had imaginary friends or spiritual guides or spiritual beings that was with you when you're growing up, you know how that is, that they are so real. It's like they're right there. But we've been trained to suppress our imagination very early on in school. We're put in these indoctrination centers where we're all lined up and, made to do everything the same way and very structured and organized, no imagination. Pretty much most schools these days, they're pulling a lot of the art programs and music programs because they just want to train obedient slaves, basically, for the workforce. But we need to get back into our imagination. He's talking about going into the kingdom of heaven, and then Luke 17:21 says, "Neither shall they say, Lo here or lo there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you." So if you can't enter the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of heaven is within you, it's showing you that this is going to be some sort of mystical meditative practice, something going within, self-reflection, um, and showing you that the way to enter the kingdom of heaven is to go within, into that silence, into that void of awareness, when you literally melt into God and become one in states of samadhi. Let's see what else. Also, look at how innocent children are. Like, you can look on a playground or something like that where children are playing, and no matter what race the kid is, no matter what kind of clothes the kid is wearing, no matter, what place they were from or anything, the kids do not care. They see the others, so much clearer. Children are so much closer to the reincarnation cycle. They've been so close to spirit realm that in the early ages, those first 7 years when they're in a complete theta state and they're just downloading and everything, that's when most of the children's have these reincarnation memories, past life regressions, where they remember who they were before in a past life, but they're deeply connected to spirit. And you see them, they're not discriminatory, they're not being hateful. And that goes to show, when people say, oh, people are just born racist, you can go out and just look and see that that's absolutely not the case. Racism is something that's trained into children, and it's trained to them in those early years, the first 7 years, when they're in a theta brainwave and they're soaking up everything. So if they actually see their parents and hear their parents saying and doing these negative things, then of course during their formative years, then they're gonna basically subconsciously download that and then repeat it in the world. So we're not born racist or evil, or definitely not born with sin or whatever, that we're just all born filthy or some crap like that. That's definitely not the case. We're born divine. We are divine. We can never stop being divine, even in our lowest states. But yeah, with the imagination and the being totally accepting in a state of oneness, being very close to the spiritual realm where you can literally see and communicate with the spirits. And the more that you go within and meditate and do your different ritual practices, whether you're working with ceremonial magic or tantra or any type of yoga, basically get back into that innocence, tap into your inner child. And another thing, saying you can't go into the kingdom of heaven, because most of the time the people who haven't done shadow work and they haven't been working on themselves and they haven't been actually delving into the shadow and dealing with the past traumas that they've had growing up and just going through life, when you haven't dealt with that and you try to sit and meditate, what happens? Your mind just sits and goes crazy with all these thoughts and stuff. And so you actually have to work through them. And until you work through them, you can't enter that state of full absorption and oneness where you get to experience yourself as that void, as the state of just oneness with the divine. But yeah, we need to tap back into that innocence, tap back into that creativity, into visualizing. Visualizing is one of the most important practices when it comes to practicing magic, whether it's ceremonial magic, either low or high magic. It doesn't matter what it is. Or even with meditation, when you're meditating on your Ishtadevata or whatever personal deity that you work with, you're visualizing the deity, or visualizing the Om symbol or the cross or whatever, religion that you have, you're having that vision. And when you get to a state of practice with it, we can get back to where we were when we're children, where you close your eyes and it's not just some like kind of form, it's like full on, full color, 3D, just as real as if you had your eyes open looking at it. You can get your mind that trained to where through these practices you can tap deeply into your soul. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to come on here after I saw that Duncan Trussell thing. I was like, oh man, that really makes me think, and I wish that they had kind of went that way with it. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and make a video. But I love you guys. I hope everyone's doing wonderful, and I will definitely be back with some more videos soon. Talk to y'all later. Peace.